Hi there, welcome to another presentation of the Sound and Emotions Conference. Now we got Shanti Lleone. Hi, Shanti.
Hi.
Shanti, whose name means peace, was given to her mother to give to Shanti during a meditation and was born into a mysticism community to two master teachers in the order of Melchizedek and participated in healing of hands and spiritual work, Eastern and Western modalities, including the Tree of Life, from as young as 2 years old. Shanti's Kundalini was activated as a baby, and her gifts of being able to communicate, see, and experience divine beings began right at birth when Mother Mary appeared to her out of the womb. Having majored in opera, she has had a successful music career in pop and rock divisions, having won a Billboard Pop Songwriter Award, worked with the camps of Black Eyed Peas, Aguilera, and has sung around the world, even shared the stage with Yes and members of the Eagles and Ozzy Osbourne, and is now a shamanic practitioner. Four wins. She's yoga instructor, Kaivalaya. What's that? Kaivala? How do you say that?
Yeah.
Kaivalya yoga method using Reiki Master, Rainbow Reiki Master, Medical Reiki Master, Kundalini Reiki Master, High Priestess in the Order of the Magdalene Rose Temple, Priest in the Order of Melchizedek, Sound Healing Practitioner, that would be Globe Institute, that would be yes, and Vedic Astrologer, and soon to be Sai Shakti Practitioner and Metatronic Healing Practitioner. Wow.
It's just a list.
Right,
Don't you
right.
just hate those? The
Uh,
list.
just a pure light being spirit behind all of that. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And it's such an absolute honor to be a part of this and to be a part of this movement. I have been so blessed to have been to found you and what you have done for me. And I even know I've shared this before, but I wanted to just say thank you again. And I honor you and I honor the divinity in you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, what have you been up to lately?
What have I been up to lately? So much. And I know that a lot of people can understand this with everything that's going on in the world. And as someone, all of us light workers who are here doing this, you're never done with the shadow, right? You're never done working on how can we refine yourselves? Because every single time something happens in the world, the first thing that I do is think, well, how is that mirroring something in myself?
Mm-hmm.
Because everything that's happening in the world is a reflection of our own inner life. And how have I contributed to this?
Mm-hmm.
With the war, how have I contributed um, to being violent towards someone? And violence doesn't have to look like physical violence, it could be energetic violence.
Mm-hmm.
How have I contributed to that in the world? How have I gotten so angry that I was irrational and I took someone else's free will away? How have I done that? And I think it's really important. That's why I keep Kali here. Kali is the goddess, and she's the goddess that in a terrifying form. So she'll see her with like legs and skulls and blood, and she's a long pointy tongue. But the fact of the matter is that this is the terrifying form of the mother that reminds you to look at your own shadow. And if you can't face that, then you really have no business doing work with other people, because we have to face the shadow in ourselves so that we can help other people with their own shadow, because that's all we're doing really is.
So, the question is once you see that stuff, what do you do with it?
Yeah. Well, and is it, and the question is in yourself or in clients? And it's probably
In self, even in self,
in
to
yourself.
start. Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I think that's really important to do is to be honest about what's happening. I think awareness and consciousness have to do with hardcore honesty, and not honesty in a way that is judgmental. There is what I've been learning so much from the divine beings is how much acceptance is a part of our growth. So being able to, without judgment, And without qualifying, judgment is in even in the qualification. It's not good or bad. This is just what's so. This is what happened. This is what you did. This is what you really did underneath it. And being, look under the rug. Not being afraid to look underneath the rug at the dirt that's been pushed up under there, because you have to see it. And when you see it without qualification, without the judgment, and you accept it and embrace it. Here's one really interesting thing that you can think about from a sound perspective. A lot of us have downloads, so we're getting ringing in our ears, and I'm sure you're getting them all the time. We're all getting them. So, but one of the things that's really interesting about the downloads is that if you hear the download, acknowledge that you're hearing the download, and tone with the download, which I am sure you do. I just
Oh yeah, match it. We will.
exactly. Exactly. If you match it, it literally just gets absorbed into this like awesome space, and it's no longer this what's happening like distortion. It's actually now integrated. The council, like the beings that I work with, they actually, the Ascended Masters and the Archangels, they actually showed me the same thing that can happen through fear or terror. That if instead of going, oh, I'm scared, and we push it away, I don't want to feel fear. That's bad. I don't want to feel that. If instead you embrace it without a qualification, you don't think it's good or bad. It is. I am scared at this moment. You can take an embrace, an energetic embrace, and bring it into the heart, and it will turn into love. And they've showed me this, and it sounds oversimplified, but it is the truth. That when you go and you put it into love, into that space. Now, let me say though, these things that we say these things, a lot of us, you and me, David, we say these things, but there are people that haven't cultivated that heart center. So they're going to have a different experience with that than people who have.
It could cause anxiety if they just embody it. Because I often say, it's not really good to make the sound of fear, right? But so it's kind of like wrapping it in love.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And it's not embodying,
Uh-huh.
you're embodying, but you can bring it if you have cultivated a heart center that is loving and compassionate without qualification, like unconditional. It just is accepting of what is. I get this. I literally got this because my aunt who died, she's my best friend, and when she died, she went into these processes, and she was coming and visiting me and telling me about the process of her death. And so I would say, "How are you? Where are you now? What's happening now?" And at one point, she had said, well, I'm much better now. She's like, I just went through the macro stage. Now I'm at the micro stage. And she said the macro stage was when you were looking at your whole life like through a big umbrella. Like, this is the overall view of my life. This is what happened. All these things. And the angels were telling her that she needed to just come to a place of acceptance. With those things, without qualifying good or bad, no inflation or deflation, none. That's what happened. Accept what happened. And then she said she went to the micro stage, and she said the micro stage was the really hard stage, because that was the stage where you had to see all the little tiny things that sent ripples into other people's lives that you didn't even know. So you said this, and it did this to this person, and this to this person, and this person did this, and all of these little micro waves that were sent out. She said it was the hardest thing to go through, and it was like painful for her, because she wanted to qualify. Well, but I did it. She wanted to justify it. She wanted to say, I did it because of this, or they didn't see this, or this wasn't bad, I meant it as good, or that was really bad that I did that. I hate that I did that. Whatever, she wanted to qualify it. And the angels were like, you cannot move from this phase until you stop qualifying it. It's not good or bad. It's what happened, and you have to accept it. And the acceptance that I've been shown is that embrace, enfolding into love, enfolding into this unconditional love. And that's a concept that might be a little bit hard if you haven't started cultivating that in yourself. It's kind of a jump. So
I often think of what is as, well, it's frequencies or combinations of frequencies. It's relationship between frequencies, and it's or a certain flow, musical flow, right? So I think of that as a river. It's like looking at a river. You don't go, well, that rock in the middle really sucks. It's in the way, right? It's
Yeah.
causing a blockage. No, the water's going right around. You just look at the river and you don't, it's just what it is. It's a combination. It's just frequencies or music.
Yes, and it's very important, like you said, to just be like, no, that's just what it is, and that it's not. You have to accept the responsibility that, well, yeah, you did put the rock there. Do you know what
Uh-huh.
I mean? Like
Uh-huh.
the rock was there, you did put that, and you don't even have to make it as a blame. You just did. You did put that rock there, and they did do those things. Because the truth is, when we get into unity, and we get into the idea that you and I are from the same and we are the same. We're just in these different rays of light being expressed in different ways right now, but we are the same. Then we have to understand that when we do certain things and it ripples effects to other people that are really us, really aspects of us, um, we have to take responsibility for that. And it's not responsibility blame, it's responsibility awareness. Like, oh, what I do actually caused these things. What I do actually matters. What I do actually makes a difference or can actually harm people and I don't even know it. And then you start to kind of cultivate this refinement of the way that you're behaving towards yourself. And it all starts there. It always starts in how you're treating yourself. So when back to your question, when you look at the shadow and we can look around us and go, okay, so I see right now what I'm being shown is the suffering, the immense suffering of people losing everything that they have for something that seems completely unconscionable, and someone we can go on and on and on about all these judgments about that. But then you look inside yourself. Well, what am I contributing to that? So one of the things that I do that's different from the shadow, but in order to contribute something in the moment, because the things we've done in the past, we did them. We thought those things. This is a mass consciousness. Some people could say that the Ukrainian people are taking a big sacrifice because there's a lot of unity that's happening right now through this. There's a lot of unification in just our country alone.
Right. It's heart opening when you see suffering like that.
It is, and we could thank them from the bottom of our hearts for being the sacrificial, and that's, and I don't mean that any of this is right or any of this is good. It's just what's happening as a result of what certain people's their conscious decisions were. So this is one of the positive results is the unification that's coming through that. But when we're looking at that is the pain and witnessing this heart opening that we're having for other people. It's so important that we as spiritual leaders and as spiritual community take the opportunity, because when our heart is open like that, when we're having a heart opening of feeling something deeply for someone other than ourselves, right? We want to take that moment and send that love and send unconditional love and the sound of peace, the sound of unconditional love and support, the sound of healing. We want to send that, especially when our heart is breaking. And the fact is that it takes us having put in a practice. We have had to have practiced the sound of peace in ourselves so that in the moment when we could be triggered and we could fall apart, we can go and stand up as that leader and go, I'm going to play that song of peace right now for you. And we know a lot of us who do Reiki or do any kind of energy healing, sound frequency, we know that it travels and that there is no difference between here and there, that we can have them right here in a contained space. So we literally are healing everybody that we see. I literally have mantras that are a specific technology of mantras for healing. I literally do Reiki at all of these things. When I watch the news, it's my healing time. It's literally what I'm doing. I'm not watching the news to be, to reinforce these triggering things. I'm doing it as a healer. Who can I heal today? Who's coming up? The mass pictures. I freeze it I freeze it on the TV and I just heal every single person in that picture. Send every
Mm.
single person the song of peace. And I want to encourage us to do that.
I had a situation yesterday where I was a little frustrated with a couple of people, and it was really cool. This conference has been really transformative for me, right? Because there's so many cool presenters. But I was frustrated, and I just thought I'm going to shift this, and I shifted it to sending love to them instead of going, "That's a bummer what you did." No, I just went, "Wee,"
Yes.
right? And it was so cool. But what about people that are so in a pattern of an emotion that are really deep, that are having a hard time getting above the surface, right? To be able to actually do any active work.
Yeah. Well, so I want to bring up a little bit about my history
Cool.
because that's where I grew up in this spiritual community and I was very blessed to do that. But that does not mean in any way that there weren't a mountain of, because we're in duality land, so as blessed as you are, as screwed as you are. So, like, well, I'm just kidding, but I had immense amounts of I was, as far as I know it now, and we still are having memories come back. But four different people. I was molested by at least four people that we know. I had immense amount of abuse in our family. There was spiritual, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. So I had a lot of trauma, and being a sensitive, being somebody who came in with her kundalini and was trying to like stop it because it was so uncomfortable as like under around 1 years old, like trying to push it down, like stop, I don't know what to do with all of that. um, like and then seeing these beautiful beings, but then also seeing negative beings that were attacking my father and demonic beings that were trying to attack my father and me and people that were in the order. Like you have all of these things. It's kind of like a little pot of trauma that can happen. So I spent many years being suicidal and depressed and having anxiety, and I went through all of that. I went through the cutting phase. I went through you name it. I've gone through it. To be honest, and I don't wear it though on my system because I've spent so much time. I was aware really young that this was not okay, that I was not okay, that I was okay, but these things were not okay and they were affecting me negatively, is really what I meant to say about that. So I immediately started doing whatever I can. So here's the thing about somebody who's stuck in those patterns, as I was for years. You're there's so many different layers of things happening. One is that when you come in, the karmas that you have from your past life are in the first half of your life. So I know that, and just as also to qualify that karma doesn't mean punishment, and also you can take on as spiritual leaders, a lot of us, and I was one of them, also come in to take on other people's karma. You can take on your family's karma and ancestral on purpose. You might have come in to help your family clear karma. So it's a combination of those types of different karmas that are affecting things. I'm saying that because as you're looking and as you're in this loop of the looking at things in the way that you are looking at things and being affected by these traumas, you are going to only be able to get the kind of healing that you are ready to get at that moment. And so what I've seen over the course of my life is that the more healed, and I don't say this to discourage, I say this to say, start somewhere, start where you are, and just keep going, do the work and keep improving. That's the general overall view, because you're not going to get the blessing of the most amazing healer right out the gate unless you have a really awesome karma, and then great, please, I want that for all of you. But most of us have to go through the ringer, and we have to go through these step by steps. And we might start with things like I did. I went to therapy for 8 years and did a lot of cognitive behavioralist thoughts. I mean, the first time that somebody said to me, because I came from spirituality, right? The first time somebody said to me, what you really need to do is realize that there's a really bad way of reacting. This is how it kind of is taught. Like, this is the really negative way of reacting, and this is a super positive way of reacting, but you want to react right here in the middle. And I was like, that's what people do? They like literally decide they're just going to react in the middle. You're going to say, this guy was a jerk because he didn't like me, and he was this guy really just thought I was awesome, and that's why he did that. No, you want to think, well, maybe he was having a hard day that day, or maybe. And I was like, that's what people do. And I remember thinking, that's crazy. But at the time, because of my consciousness level and because of all of the effects of everything that I'd taken on in my birthing, and in the first half of my life, I couldn't get the consciousness of that. I couldn't understand the wisdom in that. I thought, well, I'm truthful. You got to be honest. You've got to be as honest as you can. But honesty is an interesting word, because honesty doesn't mean that it's an overreaction of things, or it's an inflation or deflation of anything.
Honesty can often hurt people.
Yeah, it can. But you need to look at honesty comes from, real honesty is coming from a place of consciousness and awareness of everything involved, not just you. Mm-hmm. So, and that's where, when we're in trauma land, it's all me. Like, that's all you're going to see is my pain, and I got more pain than you. I have more pain than you, and I went through this, and you can't possibly understand all of these things. And this is very normal. There's nothing, and so the first thing, I mean, really, there's nothing wrong with the way that you're reacting. You're reacting exactly normally for somebody that's gone through the things. It's just, if I talk to somebody that's going through any of those kinds of traumas, there's nothing wrong with any. I've been raped. I've had all those things. I know there's nothing wrong with you. You're actually absolutely reacting normally. That's not the issue. You just know that who you are in your higher self, is beyond that. And so and it's hard to get there when you've got this pain, it's in your body. So there's so many different modalities to do that. There's emotion code work, which helps with your body. Getting it out of your body, that you're going to want to go to healers. In fact, I would recommend a lot for people who are just starting out. You need to find some people that you trust. Could be therapy professionals. You never ever want to doubt the significance of what can happen in a therapy session, because of the way that they're trained. My parents are both psychotherapists, so I know a lot about. I grew up in that and went to my dad's doctorate classes with him as a kid. But so you never want to underestimate the power of that. However, then on the other side of things, spiritual work, sound healing work, energy work can really, really help with speeding up some of those things, that removing those blocks, removing cords to different ancestral lineages, your lineage that you took in. When you remove those things, it's like removing planks from your eyes quicker. So you want to make sure that you are hitting it from all sides, and that's literally what I did. I made it a mission. I remember thinking, I'm not going to be able to do anything in my life if I don't heal this. And I never wanted, and also as a healer, I really cannot stress enough how important it is for us to do our own work. And that's why, when you said, what are you doing lately? I'm like, what are we always doing? We're like, okay, I have a moment. I'm going to dig in and kind of see what I can bring up. What am I going to release today? What kind of work am I going to release? So,
well, it's the most important message from what you're saying, I hear, is to know that it's not necessarily going to happen quickly, but it's common that people take a long time. And what's so beautiful about it is when you get finally up to above the ground, so to speak, right? Then it's like it's not just normal. It's like you've got this experience that is really profound, not only for you, but also then to be able to help others.
So that's what I wanted to. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, yes, because um, what are we going through right now? We're witnessing, and so we, as people who've been through those things, it's like the bell is ringing. Hello, wake up because now's the time. Like make sure that you're doing your own healing work because we need you. We need you who've gone through this, who understand, who can empathize. That doesn't mean at all that you have to go through these things to be a good healer at all. It doesn't mean that. It just means that right now it's perfect timing for us, and I really do believe I know that a lot of us have gone through that for this time. A lot
And,
of yeah. Yeah.
and at that stage, people fly, and it's really hard to imagine flying when you're under like a big pile of dirt,
Yeah.
right? And to just know that it happens all the time, that people get above ground and they go, "Holy moly, I'm all dirty. How am I going to fly?" And then before you know it, I mean, it's only in the last 5 years that I really started, or well, really in the last year or two, that I'm really flying, right? And I had my trauma, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what really important for people to know. Wait a second, it happens all the time where grounded people make it out and actually fly.
It's so interesting that you're using those terms too, because one of the processes I'm doing right now is the five elements process. And it's a process where you start with the earth and you go and you do a certain number of mantras for a certain number of days. It's hours every day, basically. But you're really connecting. You have your thumb in the earth, and you're really connecting with the earth, and you're becoming one with this element. And exactly what you said, when you become one with this element of grounding, it's heavier, it's denser, but let me tell you what's so great about it. And I'm going to use this in our conversation with what you just said. The earth is a magnet. It's magnetizing. So if you want to go and heal things, you go right to the earth and you go and you let it pull out your negativity. You pull out all the things that aren't serving you anymore. And it's because it's a giant magnet. That's what its purpose is. So when we have gone through these really dense things, we are now going to, as we go up, because then you go into fire and you go into sky where you're flying, you go into air and water, and you go through all of these different processes. As we are in ourselves going through this cycle, we still have the juice. We still have the gifts of everything. We, just like you just said, we still have those gifts that we can pull from, and it's like a magnet. So now I see it. I can smell on people. I can smell it and see it and feel it, and I know exactly what it is that they're struggling with, and I know exactly what, and I don't know it from my own. I can see it because I've seen it in so many different modalities, not just myself. I've been blessed enough to see these issues from many different perspectives because I'm supposed to work with them. For example, suicide and depression. I've had 6 people that I know go through the process of choosing to leave in that way. And so I've seen how this works, and I know where I smell it, I see it, and I know how to do it as a magnet. I know exactly, okay, if we work on this thing, this is going to be what helps them. And so everybody out there that's going through these processes of the dense, there's so many gifts, and we call them in some of our modalities sacred wounding.
Mm-hmm.
The sacred wounds are the wounds that are gifts for your life. They don't seem like it when you're in it. It's it's some of the worst things that you feel like you're going through, but they are the biggest parts of gifts, the points of gifts, points of getting the divinity. It's where your heart breaks open and the light comes through. And
What you were saying earlier is, I think, really important as well, which is ties into right now, is when you go through these very difficult times, to think that there's something wrong with you, or is really it's actually the worse than what you go through,
yeah, the judgments.
right? Because now you're spiraling down even further, and that's kind of the key. So unconditionally loving yourself is really just so critical.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that don't.
Yes. And that's the issue, isn't it? Is that's what we're mirroring. That's what's being mirrored for us, is the lack of love for each other, which is really mirroring our lack of love for ourselves. So, I mean, and that honestly, that's where it needs to start. So I know that when you are going through these processes, it seems like you're very self-absorbed in all of these things. But the truth is, you need to be in that space. You need to be self-absorbed, but it needs to turn into, how do I love myself more? How do I get to a point where I'm not taking the judgments that were on me and have absorbed them, and now they're me. Now I just mirror judgments from myself to everyone because that's how I was taught to be in the world. How do I now separate and become the observer in your life? Like becoming,
So, okay, so how?
yeah.
How?
So
When you're in it.
when you're in it, well, there's that's such a broad question. I know, for example, there's a chakra in the Hindu system called the Kama chakra. And a lot of people think that that could probably most likely be the second chakra. It's called the Kama chakra, and it means the desire chakra. And it's not just desires, it's attachments and all of these things. So everything we're just talking about, we become attached to the judgments. We become attached to feeling anxious and depression. And it's a hard thing to say, but it's the truth is that there is an attachment to the way that you think you show up in the world and people are going to respond to you.
Which is, I'm sorry, which is reflected in the way the brain creates neural pathways,
Yes.
which are, in one way you think of that's like really cool, but the other way it's their ruts,
Yes.
very deep ruts that are very difficult to change.
Absolutely. And so in the Kama chakra, for example, they say that the biggest source of suffering that all of us have is because we have an overextended, over exaggerated Kama chakra. And the way around that, if we go into the spiritual realm of it, there's so many different things psychologically that I would recommend, from cognitive behavioral therapy, and to start there. If it's really serious, I really would start in that modality, because you need to be able to talk this through with someone that you can trust. You're not, the more ethereal things are going to be a little bit difficult for you to trust, because you've got those neural pathways that tell you you can't trust people and that it's never going to happen for you, and that you've got all of those saboteurs. So you need to kind of work through that in the denser ways, which is therapy. And therapy can also go, like my mother would roll over that I said that, because my mother, because she's a spiritual being as well. I mean, she's a master teacher and Melchizedek, but it does start with the cerebral thing. But the way to work with this Kama chakra is that we need to work on our third eye. So when our third eye is much more power, we have more power and fire. Third eye is the fire center. And so when we have this fire center built up, we can actually start to control the way that our karma is working, the way that our desires and our attachments are working. But what that means is that we'll have more discernment. What that means is we'll have more awareness and consciousness, so that we can start to see other points of views. We can start to see that perhaps it isn't the best idea to go running through and screaming in the movie theater right now, even though we're upset by something. But we could have discernment. In fact, every time we see The fact is that when you see like somebody went out and they were very angry and they acted out through violence or crime or whatever, you can say, well, their kama chakra is very it's overpronounced, and there's nothing wrong with the kama. Keep the kama the way it is, but work on the third eye, which means working on the consciousness. And there are techniques to do this, and in Hindu, there's a saint. His name is Sri Kaleshwar, and he is a divine saint that does he's performed miracles. We're talking like the Divine Mother shows up in person in flesh, like not with your eyes closed, but you can touch this person. These kinds of a whole bunch of things. I don't want to scare anybody, but like a lot of objects. You can bring objects up and out of thin air, like really beautiful, amazing. Turn water into wine. Those kinds of. He did miracles. He passed in 2012. So, but the one of the techniques that he says that are from the palm leaves, the ancient palm leaves, the secrets, has to do with certain mantras, which really are just sounds with certain rhythm and cadence that has been cultivated and discovered by the rishis through their process, that this is what works. And so there's a lot of mantras, and we talk about mantras a lot as sound healers. But there are some that have been proven scientifically or just experientially to work. So one of the mantras is to do G, J-I-G, is the third eye chakra. Now, this is the thing about dikshas, which is the rules of how these things happen. There are specific times that you do these things and how many and all of that. But G is the mantra that would open this. And then we also want to cleanse the chakras in our two eyes so that we stop seeing this illusion. So back to the ones that are suffering.
So G, you just say G over and over?
G, and you're thinking in your third eye, but there's a timing of when to do that. And to be honest, it's something I want to say that I just want to make sure that we all understand that a practice of consistency is really important, and it builds on itself. So you start maybe with the Om, which is also a really great mantra for this, and the Om will retune, as you know, your whole system. It kind of aligns, everything's the primordial sound, so you can start with something simple and go to these more advanced techniques, but G, and then you also do at night she, because SHI, because what you're doing is you're removing the veil, you're removing the Solomon seal from the third eye, and you're removing this veil of illusion that what you're witnessing in your life is you, that what's happening is really all there is, or that you believe, oh, my life is never going to be this. These are all Maya. These are all illusions. So when you are chanting these mantras, which are the rishis gave to us on palm leaves, and it was hidden for thousands of years, and they just came up in 1999. They started to resurface. But when you start to do the chants in the specific times of day, and that kind of thing, you will remove this, and then you also want to go into your heart chakra.
Well, it also takes you out of that second chakra.
Right.
Right. I remember I think it was a Tom Kenyon technique that I've practiced a lot, where they say just do a silent Om in your third eye, and it will totally take you out of your emotional body.
Yes.
To a place of stillness.
Yes. I mean, honestly, mantras are so important for people who have a lot of mental activity as well. The sound frequencies and the cadence and the rhythm, those are all sounds, right? Mm-hmm. The cadence, the rhythm, all the frequencies of that will change your neural pathway. They've done studies at MIT. Dr. Pillai is another guru who is living, and he does a lot of work with people at MIT to do the scientific research behind what happens when you do mantras, and so you want to know that you're changing your brain frequencies. These aren't just like, there's devotion behind it, yes, and devotion is so important for our well-being, and I'm an incredibly devotional person, so I am all about devotion. However, I want you to know, for those who aren't yet, because they're still in the place of the density is going to keep you from devotion. It's harder to be devotional when you're in pain. I mean, and that's just normal.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It can crack your heart open so that you start to go. You can make the choice out of pain. That's what's so great about pain.
You know what I found is too, everybody's got a little bit different rhythm for their brain waves.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you could do it as simple as just tapping faster or slower until you find something, the rhythm that feels the right speed. And then you could choose. I would think that it would definitely work with any vowel or any consonant, which is what we do with the kids actually. You could just go ba 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 and visualize it in your third eye, and then branch out from there into any mantra or chant or whatever.
Just to begin, just to start. So yeah, and like that kind of supports what we were talking about, where you start where you are and you accept what is, and then after the acceptance, then you can transmute. You
Hmm.
start where you are and transmute later. I will say that the rishis have said that there are specific sounds and
Uh-huh.
vowels for certain things, but that
Uh,
might be more advanced. And that might not be where you're at. But I do want to say that the most important chakras that will help with these reactions that you'll want to look into, and I do have a course that will be talking about these things, but the third eye, and I'm putting my thumb like this on purpose because this is called Shakti Pot, because the heart center, you go into your heart center, you sit there, you open the heart center and imagine that line of light going down the arm and into the thumb, your right thumb. And so you put that right on your third eye, and you can start to have that energy from the heart. And the heart is that center that communicates with both your physical body and the higher realms. It's that nodal point that connects with all the realms. And that's where you connect with your soul. So you want to go ahead and open that up and put that into your the third eye. Then you have your heart, which the sound for in this process of building because what you want to do is have a really strong third eye that can have the discernment and the wisdom, the higher self wisdom, to override these kama, the desires and attachments and reactions and all those things that are causing all of us so much suffering. And we want to put them in our heart. We want to have that wisdom and connect it down to our heart, which is, and the rishis have found that ta,
How do you spell that?
ta,
T-A?
ta is that is the sound in that process. And every process is specific. It's not like, oh, just throw this and just throw that. There actually is a scientific method to why you do certain things at certain times and how all those things. And then the last one I want to share with you, because this was revolutionary for me, was the womb chakra, which is not the second chakra. It's a different chakra. It's a chakra that is about an inch. It moves. Everyone has it, male or female. This is not a
I've
female.
got a womb.
Yeah, you got a womb chakra. You don't have a womb.
Woo!
You have a womb chakra, and the womb chakra is about an inch or an inch and a half below your belly button, and it can move in that center. It can move in that area, but the womb chakra is the connection point to the cosmic womb. It's the connection point of all creativity, the connection point to the mother, the divine mother, the Shakti. Which, by the way, when you go into your third eye, it's the Shakti and Shiva joining, the masculine and feminine energies joining in that. So what we're doing is we're also balancing those aspects. And I have to tell you, as somebody who grew up with their therapists, I really undervalued the importance of masculine and feminine balancing. And it doesn't matter if you're male or female. This is not about being a body. This is about the energy that works more receptively or more actively. So it's an energy system. but the importance of it is so profound. When I started working on it with Metatron, the divine feminine and the divine masculine aspects, and combining those with divine grace to have the balance in your body, it's just it's so beautiful, and it makes such a difference in your third eye, because all of a sudden you're seeing things in a balanced holistic way, and you're not seeing things from a wounded feminine or a wounded masculine or all of these things. We are in duality. When we were Lumerians, you and me, when we were Lumerians, before, in the beginning, we were not in that. We didn't have either. We were the unified and integrated beings. And then we became these separate things, because we're learning, right? This is a process. We get to now understand these isolated parts of ourselves. So this is kind of advanced conversation, but I'm saying this to say this womb chakra these are the three center points that are the most important. And the womb chakra is the primordial spot for creativity and for your power. It's your power spot. So every source of power that you're really looking for as healers, this is for the healers that want to be actual, the type of healers that can actually heal things like cancer. Like Sri Kaleshwar, for example, could bring birds back to life. Like they would die, and then he would, in front of everybody, they would be bleeding out, done, and he would bring them back. And he did it through the womb chakra, through the power of the mother.
And I'm sorry, the womb chakra, it's below the belly button, but you said in about an inch or so?
About an inch or an inch and a half, but it does kind of move. It kind of
Okay.
it might some be a little bit higher or lower some days. And I want to tell you, when you just close your eyes and you think, like, I'm going to tune in down there just below my belly button, not low enough to be in the second chakra, but above that.
Okay.
When you go into that space, I had that's when everything made sense to me, because I felt that my whole life, and then I kept going, stop, what is that? And it was like so aggravating when I was growing up with it. And I talked to someone about it. I'm like, they're like, your kundalini was open at like, whatever it was, 9 months, 12 months. They were like, no, you came in with that kundalini, which is why I could see the beings, and why I had that's why the gifts that I've had is because of that. And anyway, I don't want to go into that. I just wanted to let you guys know that there are energy things that we can do to actually help with this karma, to help with, because that's the point of suffering, is the over attachment to our desires, and our over attachment to what's happening. Everybody's singing this song on the news, and it's the song of, this person did this, and this person's awful for this, and can't believe this, and everybody has a reaction about every single thing. And these are songs that we're hearing. And what we want to do is have a connection with our own frequency and song, like you always used to talk about in class all the time. We want to have we want to have our own song, so that no matter what song is being played outside, we can sing our song of peace, of love, of unconditional acceptance and love for the world, without blame, without judgment, because that is what is going to unify us. That is going to be where the leaders stand up, where we're going to be the ones, because if you look at it, it's just insane how many, Wall Street's up and down, and all they're the most emotional group I've ever seen. They're like, I heard this on the news and I freaked out, so we crashed the market. Like, where's the consistency and the stability of self in any of this? Why are we freaking out because there was a news press release? Like, what? Yeah. Anyway.
So I've got, when I was in Mount Shasta last year, I got this vision that is kind of half baked, right? that I could, whenever energy is coming into my solar plexus or second chakra to create this emotion that could be, a little difficult, then I could actually run the energy. There was almost like this plate or something that would actually run the energy up into my heart instead of letting it in down here.
Okay. So yes, there's an actually, you're so amazing. There is a practice that I actually was thinking about giving, and you said that, so I'm like, okay, angels, let's do it. There's a practice, and it's to reset the parasympathetic, and this is something that can do. However, I do understand that some people are, and honestly, everybody gets there, so there's no blame or weirdness about it. Like sometimes you need somebody else to do that because you're just like overcome with emotion about things. But if you're in a place where you can reset, this is to reset your parasympathetic nervous system, and it is exactly that. And I'll tell you the fine tunes of it. So because we can't, it's a 20-minute process. We don't have time to do it, but I can walk you through what to do exactly. So you want to take your right hand and you want to put it on your heart center. You want to first, as we do, and this is symbolic for everything. First, you want to take note of your own heart center. You want to feel the state of your own heart center. If you feel a beat, then great. What is your rhythm? What is your hum in your heart right now? What are you really experiencing? And once you kind of get a sense of this center, you want to go to the back, straight back to the spine, and then draw. We're all sitting, so if you're laying down, you don't have to go down the spine, but since we're sitting, you're going to draw that white line that goes down the spine and out, down the coccyx, out, down into the ground, and you're going to go down into the ground, into the earth chakra, so that you're connected up, but you're going to go straight down, and you're going to walk down. And I do this in the meditation a little bit so you can get this part of it. You can start to walk through it. You're going to go all the way down into the mother's heart. When you connect into that ball, that line goes right into that ball. It's like a big fiery ball that you connect into. And I'm sorry that we can't lead it through now, but I'm just gonna talk you through so you have it.
So I'm sorry. So you go to the center of the earth, and there's a fiery ball that is like the mother's heart.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
it's like this big. It's her heart center. That's where her all of her intention for the whole world. That's where her consciousness resides. In that, it's like you can see it when you go down. You'll start to see. You might see crystals. You might see around it, but it's this big fiery ball, and you're going to take this line from your heart and plug it into that ball. And when you plug it in, you're going to see that energy move up that line, up your spine, all the way back into your heart. And now that ball of light, her heart, the mother's heart, is going to inform your heart. And you'll see that it's a slower rhythm, the slower, deeper, and it will change the rhythm of your heart. Now that's the first part. The first part is connecting down. You got to feel your own heart. Where are you? What's your rhythm? Where are you? You always want to be aware and start cultivating awareness of yourself. And then you go down through your spine down to this, you connect into the mother's heart, and then that beat informs your heart. And you need to wait until it starts to kind of beat together. And you'll see it'll slow. Her rhythm will entrain your heart rhythm to be slower. And then you take your left hand and you put it on your second chakra. So that's the Kama chakra. You're going to put it on the Kama chakra, the second chakra. And you're going to feel with your left hand, how's my second chakra doing? And a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times you'll feel the second chakra, the energy pulse, it's kind of whirly. It kind of goes, it's kind of not steady. It's kind of like whirly. Yeah, the sound. It's just got this thing. So you want to then, as you you still have your right hand, because you're maintaining the mother's information of the heartbeat into your heartbeat, and then you're bringing that down. And now it's going to also inform the beat of your other heart, which is in your Kama chakra, your second chakra. And now what you want to do, and when you get, this takes a minute to find the second chakra and your heart chakra beating together, informed by the mother. When you find it, do 20 minutes, hold it. And what you're going to feel, you may feel And you might not find it the first time, but you will eventually find it, because what you're doing is resetting the nervous system, your parasympathetic, and you want to take that time to hold it, to go, yes, the mother's heart is now informing your entire system. It's informing this comma desire center. It's informing your heart, and it's all beating as one. And you might feel this, because when I'm working with clients, and this is typically how I end sessions, is I will have that in there. You might feel the infinity between them. So it's like they do this for a little while, and then they're together. They're all together, but they kind of go through a process where they start doing. First, they're like, they're all crazy, but then they start to do this waving back and forth, and it looks like the infinity going like that. And it's just this like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this, and then all of a sudden it starts to beat together. Now you want to do this process. Once you get that locked in for 20 minutes. And then you can, another little hint, if you want, after that, is to go into the third chakra, right, at the base of the sternum, the third chakra, and anchor that down back into the earth star, which is about 6 inches down in the earth, so that you have that anchored, and then maintain that. You want to do this process at least 2 or 3 times to actually reset. This is a shamanic practice, but you want to reset it, you have to do it a couple times. So that's the issues that I have with clients. I'm like, okay, you're going to feel really good, but you got to come back, because it's not going to hold as much unless we do it like a couple times. But you can do it for yourself if you're feeling like you can access that. If you aren't, you can always find someone who can do. It's called decoupling, and I do it, but you can also, and sometimes I do it, if you don't have any money and you're struggling, just email me, because it's really important right now that it makes me cry, but it's so important that we reset this. And if we reset to the mother's heart, it's this unifying beat that is what we were made of. It's what the planet resonates. We want to go that deep and resonate into that. And that's where we can all be unified. And that's where resetting the parasympathetic is a really big deal, as far as being able to work on this comma.
Oh,
Right?
oh, I was just, while you're saying that, I'm thinking, I want to find that tempo and create a song. So we should do that. We should create a song based on that tempo.
Love that. It's such a beautiful, her hum is so beautiful. And I was thinking about
Oh,
you.
okay, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was thinking about you, and I was thinking about like the sound of this pain that we're feeling, that we all are witnessing, and we are, to be honest, blessed to witness this transformation that's happening through really unfortunate and horrifying occurrences. But the sound of it, isn't it interesting that the sound of that, it's like almost a distorted overtone series, right? It's not harmonious. It's not the note.
Chaotic.
It's got these intervals that are distorted and off, and the tuning is off, and that's what we're listening to all the time. And so what we want to do is go back and go, okay, let's go back into the actual sound of harmony and sound of peace, and we can really find that in practices like this. Yeah.
Okay, so might you be able to do the sound of the mother now?
Mm. So the first sound that I hear is very low. It's a low. And then I hear it also with these beautiful high pitches. is going the whole time, that
Mm-hmm.
underneath it, and then these beautiful, and then she's also got these really sweet, it's just like a chorus of, if we all just knew how absolutely loved we are. If we all just knew. And so my hope and prayer is that we do a practice, consistency over time, get to know the mother, and through the mother, get to know you through the mother, because that's the truth. That's the real truth. We should definitely do that song. We should definitely.
Oh, create it? Oh, okay.
You want to?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, record it.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. Yeah. You can channel it and record the basic version, and then we can create the rhythm and everything from that.
Yeah.
We got it. We got it. We actually got it kind of now.
I hear all the different parts. I hear high, sweet, like ethereal. There's these bass and the rhythm. Her pulse is like this beautiful. It's like the blood of the rivers. You know, her blood is the river, right?
So,
All water. Yeah.
so this is different somewhat from universal love, what we think of as universal love.
All of these different, like for that just
There's
reminds
a lot of love out there.
me a lot. Just reminds me of when I learned Reiki, and then I learned medical Reiki, and then I learned Kundalini Reiki, and then Rainbow, and all these different things. And you think, oh, it's going to be the same. No, it's just this time. But once you understand, see, that's the thing, subtle energy. Subtle energy, the more sensitive you become, and I want to encourage everyone to go there. And you need to do this with protection and with boundaries, and all of these things are very important, and you can learn that. I mean, literally, that's what I'm doing in my 3-month course, is teaching all of these things and many modalities. It's the kind of course that you can do if you are a beginner or if you are advanced, because it depends on, I've formed it in a way where you can kind of choose how you want to do this. But there's live transmissions every Sunday, where you will have transmissions and activations from the Ascended Masters that are corresponding, who have stepped forward and want to work with the corresponding chakra, the node that we're working on. And they will be with you for an entire week, and I'll tell you how to work with them and how to. It's a beautiful thing. But the subtle energies, the universal love and the mother's love, are like the Pisces, the Vesica Pisces. There is a connection point where it's all one, and there's also its own expression. It has an expression, but in the Hindi tradition, if you go really into the deep ancient mysteries, which the Divine Feminine is nothing but mystery, when you go into the mysteries, the absolute everything is Shakti. And the Shakti, in fact, the Shakti created, some of us have heard like Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, but that came from Shakti. The primordial
Energy.
of everything is Shakti, that has been divided into these other expressions for different functions and purposes. So I would say that there is an absolute, it's the same, and at the subtle level, if you approach it like you approach universal life force energy or unconditional love, when you approach that like from a Reiki standpoint, it feels a little different than when I'm going, let's do the unconditional love from the source of the mother. It's different, but it's the same. Like Vesica Pisces, there's a connecting point. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that. That's fun questions.
It makes me, oh my God, so I'm just kind of going off now. So it makes me think about the then there's the central sun, which some say that is the actually center of the galaxy, or the center of the whole, and the center of the whole universe as well. And then
Yeah, so there's that point where it's like, when does it become it's the center of this, and so where how do we fit into the universe if it's the center of the universe as well? Does that mean that this whole galaxy is the center of the
well, it's a hologram. It just gets it's bigger and bigger on the spiral systems. It's a one way I think of it. You know, it's like you could look at the central sun inside the atom inside a cell,
Yeah.
or or the one in the galaxy, or the one in the whole universe. And they've all got a little bit different energy, even the sun itself, and
From
versus the Earth
yes.
Mother itself.
In the
I'm
Hindu.
kind of just fishing here.
No, but in Vedic astrology, I'm a Vedic astrologer too. I don't know. I always never tell people, but one of the things about Vedic astrology, which is really cool, which I love, is what you're talking about, which is that the planets are beings.
Mm-hmm.
Planets are not stuff.
Right,
Not
right. Sunak, they
beings.
say Sunak Kumara is the main being of our planet. And he's
Yes,
actually going through a transformation.
yes, and you have these and they have their own ways of communicating, and they have their and in fact, the planets are what has been created by Vishnu in order for us to have our karmas delivered, and they're delivered through our chakra system. So, and it's like they keep all the records, like, Akashic records. It's really just like, that's what they do. They keep all of that. They keep a recorded thing, and it's compartmentalized. So you have like, oh, the sun is going to deal with your power and your soul, and all these things. These Venus is going to be the material things that you are desiring, and your relationships, and so each one has a compartment. Like, this is their jurisdiction to maintain and keep records of, and so every life that you come back, they deliver those karmas to you. And so a lot of the things that happen in our chakras aren't even things that we might not be aware of consciously, because they're being delivered from past actions that haven't been completed yet. So that's how I like to think of karma instead of punishment.
Nice.
Yeah, does that make sense? So yeah, they do. They feel differently. They have ways. They have things. They even have relationships with each other, just like our chakras have relationships with each other as well. And so harmony that we talk about, I talk about the chakra scale. We want to be harmonizing in our scale. So we want to go into those chakras and go, well, how do you feel about the second one? And how do you feel about the third one? And you do processes to figure out how to get those more in tune with each other, which again is what we're mirroring, the lack of harmony in the world. And so how we can start to make that change is the harmony within us, and we can do that through our chakra scale.
Nice. So tell us about your meditation that's coming after this.
Gosh, I hope I can remember it.
It's like they're the best when you can't remember it all. Oh, and you go to the mother.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Yes. I go to the others. You can see that process in the beginning, but we're not holding the beat, and we're not having the beat come through. Oh, one thing I do want to say that I wanted to make sure to say about the meditation is how important it is for us to clear our energy fields all the time. And one of the processes I use, we call it discharging, or decharging, so that we're not, because it's so easy right now, especially the more sensitive you are, it's near to impossible to not pick things up. You can put all of the barriers.
Like little boogers,
Yeah.
little entities. Yeah, yeah.
Smells. A lot of smells out there, but like, yeah, like if you, yep. So you want to be doing clearing. So I started the meditation out, which is why it's a little bit longer. I started the meditation with a clearing, because if we're going to be sending peace And unconditional love, you want to do that as a pure vessel where you're actually channeling the actual energy. And so the reason, so it's, I want to say that to make it conscious that it's important to clear all the time. Like, and there's so many different ways. You can do it with fire. You can do, because the eyes are fire, right? So we've got the third eye and we've got the eye, and the fire comes through the eyes. You can look at a flame. Here's a flame. And you can look and put your third eye and your eye on the flame and point your fingers at it and think, I'm discharging everything that I absorbed. And you can do it through fire. You can do it through black stone. I think I have a black stone around here. Here. You can take a black stone. This is a fancy one, but you can take any black stone, this obsidian, and you can say, Divine Mother, I'm Divine Mother, take my negativity from me now. Take anything in and around me now. So, and you literally will feel it being pulled out as soon as you make that intention. You don't have to say Divine Mother if you're not into that. You can just say, please take my negative energy.
I had a psychic just teach me to tune into the energy of Neptune.
Oh, wow.
It's like when you do Neptune, it just clears out all entities
Yeah.
like this.
Mm-hmm. You can ask the angels, archangels to come in. There's you can go out to the earth and you can put your thumb on the earth or barefoot on the earth and ground, and it's a magnet, remember. So if you're charging something up in your life and an energy, don't go on the earth yet because it's going to take it. But you want to, but if you want, but every time we do a healing on anybody, this is for healers again. Anytime you're doing a healing in it, please spend at least 10% of the time that you spent healing somebody decharging. So if you're doing an hour, do 6 minutes of decharging at least to kind of clear out, because there is a transmission that's happening, and it's really important that we continue to be clear vessels at this time.
So you do it in the beginning, but do it in the middle of the session, take a little break, or just do it at the end?
We do it right at the end, and it's important to do. In the beginning, you can do things like washing your hands with cold water, and you can definitely set up sacred space. And there's a million ways that we all know how to do millions of that. But when you, afterwards, immediately after decharge, I have mantras that decharge. I work with the earth, and I do fire because fire is so powerful for decharging. But you want to make sure that and you can do cords, you can remove cords, all of that stuff. I do all of it, to be honest, because there's different levels. Some mantras will remove the karma because when we work with people as healers, we are taking on some karma. It's happened. That's why it's important for us as healers to work on our own stuff to make sure our karma is really nice and strong. Our womb chakra is really strong, so we have the protection circles around us, and that we can decharge that karma so it doesn't harm us. And then we're helping other people. We're taking that and going, okay, we're going to help you by removing that, but we're not going to keep it. You know what I mean?
So you want to end by sending love and peace to the planet?
Yes. Yes. Are you leading this, or am I leading this?
You can lead.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so to do it quickly, so we're not doing it, because the meditation does that. At the end of the meditation, it's sending out peace.
Okay.
After you're a clear vessel, you connect with the mother, and then at the end, we are sending peace.
Then maybe we should do sending love to our own heart.
Yeah. Yes, soothing love to our hearts.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and put your hands on your heart. And as you put your hands on your heart center, imagine that it's like a hug around your whole body. And you might feel and ask, I'm going to say, for everyone involved who are watching this now live or watching this in the future, I ask you now to have the Mother, Divine Mother, wrap your arms of love around all of us now. Enter into our hearts. And I see colors. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing this, but the colors of pink and like a rose red coming in. And it's spreading through your whole body. Let's go up first into the chakras of the throat, where we hold a lot of karma. A lot of people get jammed up there, and it prevents us from feeling and hearing the upper consciousness. So go there with this beautiful energy, feeling, sensing, knowing, hearing, because it also has a sound. Down back into our lower body, down all the way down to our feet, where Archangel Sandalphone has a connection at your feet, and Archangel of Music help us harmonize. And I'm getting called to ask. I ask for the archangels and the ascended masters now to put a protection around everyone that is watching this, and fill this protection egg of light with this beautiful Divine Mother love, that we may know ourselves through the eyes of the Mother, through the heart of the Mother. May we all see clearly that which we really are. May we all see clearly that which we are to be, and why we are here, our purpose, our divine purpose. Swelling with love. And thank you. So as you go about your day, just ground that into the earth again. So you have that light line that goes down, and just ground it into that 10th chakra. It's the 10th chakra. When we go into the course, we'll be doing 12 chakras, and the 10th one is the earth star, 6 inches down. So just tie it into there, so you have this Mother's love with you grounded. Calling your higher self in through the Mother, grounded. Thank you. That look on your face. Are you okay? It was just a,
Yeah. It's like this bubble of light surrounded us.
It wasn't a total process, but there was a lot of things that, like, I feel so much the importance of protection and connection is so important right now. So I wish you so much. I'm so grateful for you and for the being that you are, and all the work that you're doing in the world. Thank you so much for everything that you are. You're so inspiring. And you're just that lighthouse, that beautiful star. So thank you so much.
Thank you for all you are and all you've brought forth.
We're going to do healing now.
Yeah. I'm not even going to play the final video. We'll just leave it in peace as we go into the meditation that you've provided.
Oh, okay, perfect. Love.
Much love.
Namaste. I honor the light and the wisdom in you. Thank you for being here.
It is so important that we gather during these times. Today we will be clearing ourselves so that we can be a better instrument of peace in the world. We will be aligning with the Mother's heart so that our heart can radiate her immaculate peace, which is so needed right now. So just close your eyes and take a deep breath. As you breathe, so is your life. So breathe smoothly and slowly. Exhale, breathe in. And breathe out. Feel your body settling in, calming down. Affix your gaze, your inner gaze, to the point in the center of your forehead. This is the point of consciousness. It is important to maintain this point throughout our meditation. Become aware of a golden light around your body, an egg of light. This is your own field. You are the only one that can give permission to an energy that enters this field. So build it now intentionally, as strong as you wish, with love and compassion, and without strain. I call in the archangels now. May they surround each one of us, past, present, and future, that is involved in this meditation. I call in the ascended masters now. Feel the energy raising. Ascended masters, we ask you to assist each one of us here in raising our consciousness, in aligning with love and peace, so that we may be instruments for the world. We call in each one of our guides and gods and goddesses and all that are assisting us on our ascension path. As they surround us all, we ask for Archangel Michael to surround us, each one of us, with an electric blue flame of light. See this light in your mind's eye as it surrounds your entire system. Thank you. As this energy increases, you might be noticing areas of darkness or smokiness inside of your egg. We will ask now Archangel Michael, we ask you to take your sword of white flames and cut any cords that may not be serving us anymore at this time, that are draining us of our energy and are preventing us from our divine path. We ask you now to cut in the front. We ask you now to cut in the back, cut in the top of the head, at the bottom of the feet, at the left side and the right side. Now please take all roots from both sides of these cords and pull out now. All of them on all sides, pulling them out now. We ask you to take the roots and cords up through the egg into the light, up into the light now, up into the light now for each one of us, up into the light now. See all of them going up, and we seal with the electric blue flame. Maintain our golden egg. We ask Archangel Raphael to come in and to please heal any tears or harm that has been done to our auric field. You may be feeling shifts. Even in the sound can be a little bit different when they help you with your auric field. Now we ask Metatron, please lower down the 5D consciousness of the Christ grid through into our eggs, into the top of our heads, down through our neck and our shoulders, and connected into our heart centers, into each one, past, present, and future. Feel the energy increase and a lightening in the top of your head. We ask Archangel Sandalphon to bring and raise up the crystalline grid from the center of the earth. Raise it up now into the bottom of our feet, to our legs, our pelvis, our stomachs, our chests, and connected into the heart center, creating the torus. We are now being fed with divine energy from the Mother and from Source, aspects of the one Creator God. Now go ahead and put your hands on your heart center, maintaining the gaze in the center of your forehead, the consciousness center. Feel this heartbeat. Feel the rhythm of your heart chakra, the love note. And as you feel this, go to the back of the spine, directly behind the center, and see a white line. Step into this tube of light and let it take you down your spine, out through the lower spine, down into the earth. And as you enter into the soil on this light line, allow the magnetic forces of the earth to pull out any worry as you travel down. Allow it to pull out any resistance, travel down past the roots of the trees. See it pulling out any frustration or tension as you travel down deeper, down into the bedrocks. Allow all negativity and confusion to be pulled out into the soil. Let this feed the soil and the earth, the element of the earth, one of the 5 pillars of the great Creator. Travel down past the bedrocks, past the inner lakes, as you become clean. Down into the center of the earth that opens up. And as you stand in this great opening, take notice of all that you see, feel, sense, or just know. And in front of you, you see the Mother's heart. And let this appear to you as it needs to appear to you. But it's a big, massive energy. it calls you and draws you in. And as you step into the mother's beating heart, it purifies every cell in your being, your emotional, your mental, and your physical body. Just breathe out and say to yourself, I am willing to receive Divine Mother. You may get a gift, and you may have downloads of codes, an upgrade to your system. We ask the Mother, Mother, may we have peace within our own bodies, our own minds, and our own heart. Fill us with your immaculate peace. And feel your body lightening and shifting. Breathe it in. Breathing in, I am peace. I and the Mother are one. The Mother is peace. I am the Mother's daughter or son. The Mother and I are one. I am peace. Feel old conflicts drift away, burning in the heart of the Mother. Thank the Mother. We thank you, Immaculate Mother, the pure heart and peace of the world. Thank you. Our connection to the cosmic womb. And as we step out of the Mother's heart, we feel renewed, lighter, full. Take all that you have learned and all the gifts and your new renewed self back up the line and say, heart, up, and start to go up, 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 past the roots and the back up into your own body, up the spine, into the heart. Now feel where you have your hands on your heart center. The pulse has slowed, and you are now connected with the Mother's heart. As you feel gratitude welling up inside you, take your hands out, fingers together, hands extending at the heart center, and outflow the peace and unconditional love that you are now being sourced with from the Mother to everyone on the planet. The places where people are suffering. Take a deep breath in and send the energy out. And we will now do this on an Om, the primordial sound of all creation. Breathe in. See this energy going to everyone who is in need of peace and healing and love. Now breathe in. Into their hearts, connecting them with the Great Mother. Breathe in. And I will sing the song of peace. And if you know, you can sing with me. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all have peace and happiness in this world. Peace to everyone. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for being here. And I thank you for giving peace to the world and being a light worker. You are so needed and so important. Thank you. Namaste.
This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Visit newearth1.com.